and I really struggled with some of these projects, but I realized that's just the reality of DIY. Sometimes they go great, sometimes not so much. So you're gonna see me struggle a bit here. Hey there, welcome back. If we haven't met yet, my name is Tiffany. I'm a Washington real estate agent who has a love for creating beautiful spaces on a budget. Today I'm gonna be showing you two of my most recent trips to the Goodwill Outlet, or the Goodwill Bins, where you pay for items by the pound. The first day I went, it was almost all clothes and shoes. There were hardly any housewares. I did pick up a handful of items, but I ended up going back a second day. So you'll be seeing 2 days worth of shopping here. Once we're done shopping, I'll show you what I brought home. I'll show you what I did with any project pieces. And as always, in the end, I'll be sharing with you exactly how much I spent. Thank you so much for joining me here. Now let's get to it. Welcome back to the Goodwill Outlet. This is likely not the situation at all Goodwill outlets, but at our store, oftentimes there really aren't very many people looking for housewares. They seem to be more interested in clothes and shoes and other things like that. I've found that when they bring out the new bins, people do line up and dig through real quick, and then they tend to move on to other stuff. Occasionally at our store, they'll run out of carts and those rolling canvas bins, so I recommend bringing an oversized grocery or tote bag with you just in case. And if you happen to forget one, sometimes you can find those in the bins. Surely one of you out there knows what this thing is. If you wouldn't mind sharing, I would appreciate it. So this is a bit off topic, but these are some of my favorite nail strips, and I found a bunch of them. You just never know what you're gonna find here. Anytime I find items with batteries, I try to remember to check and make sure there's not a lot of corrosion. If there is, oftentimes I can't get them to work. Now we're over in the furniture section where items are priced individually. I've found the pricing over here to be really inconsistent. Some items are a great deal and some items not so much. These Pottery Barn candle holders were really nice, but they felt a little dated to me being connected together like that. And here I paired them with some battery-operated candles that I found on Amazon. When I found these shiplap pieces in the bins, I knew I had to do something with them. I wasn't quite sure what that was going to be. We then went over this with the saw to square the edges. And my husband had picked these stir sticks up out of a free bin at a garage sale, and I'm going to be using those to create a frame on this. I've had some questions about this pin nailer. This is battery operated and I love that I don't have to get out an air compressor to use it. So I'll have this link down below if you want to go check it out. This ultimately is going to hold house numbers, especially if you're getting ready to sell. One of the first things that people see when they drive up to your home are your house numbers. So swapping those out for something that's updated is a really simple way to make a great first impression and up your curb appeal. What drew me to this was that pot. If you've been following me for a while, you may remember that I found several bay leaf Pottery Barn wreaths and some matching garland. Well, today I found this to go with it. This could definitely be used like this, or I had another idea. Ideally, this would be topped with a sheet of moss, but I didn't have any on hand, so I just decided to use some paint. And once again, I've gone cordless here with a battery operated hot glue gun. Again, I'll have this linked for you if you want to check it out. As you can see, this tray here was missing a handle. I looked at buying another one, but in this size, they were gonna be pretty expensive. Here I'm wrapping that wire around a washer. I then filled that hole with hot glue. I thought this planter was really fun and unique. I did look it up before I did anything with it to make sure that it wasn't something of very high value. As you can see, there was a little bit of natural patina going on there. I wanted it to be fully covered in patina. They do sell products to accelerate that process, as well as some paints that are intended to match different patinas, but I decided to just use what I had on hand and see if I could mix something up and achieve the look that I was going for without buying anything. This photo album looked to be brand new. Here I'm using some scrap fabric that I had on hand. This 3M spray adhesive is great for projects like this. I would suggest spraying a pretty generous coat of this adhesive on there. was so excited when I found this letterpress printer drawer in the bins. I know that some people like to use these to store items like essential oils and things like that. I think it's a beautiful standalone piece. This is something I would mount on a wall. I believe this was originally a shelf, but what I saw was a sign. It did have some discoloration on it. You can see a little yellow on there. So I decided to do a wash on it to conceal that discoloration. For those of you who don't have a vinyl cutting machine, I wanted to find an option for you. I created this design. I did this in Canva. You can use whatever program you have that you're comfortable with. I reversed the text and cut it up so it would fit on this one sheet. I could have also printed this off on legal paper. I let that dry for about 4 hours. Here I'm using some water and wetting that paper so I can slough it off. It was going so well until this happened. I decided to get out a scrubbing sponge and scrub it all off and try again. This time I let it dry overnight. I then top coated it with more Mod Podge. I thought everything had gone well until it dried, and I saw that I did not fully get the paper off before sealing it in. So in my last ditch effort to salvage this, I decided to add one more layer of Mod Podge and top it with this tissue paper. This project did not go as I had hoped, but hopefully we can come away having learned something. If you have successfully used this method to transfer ink to wood, I'd love to hear your tips. Oftentimes when I pick up things like this, I like to try to upscale them a bit. So once again, I'm going to use more of those stir sticks. I loved the roses on this wreath, but that greenery was a little faded. Here I'm adding some eucalyptus leaves that I found at the Goodwill Outlet. This very well may end up in my daughter's room. I've been seeing a lot of decorative cement bowls and I loved the modern shape on this. So I decided to see if I could use what I have on hand to create the look for less. For the second coat, I added in more of that Polyfilla. I wanted to try to make sure that that top edge didn't have a molded plastic look. I then watered down the little bit that was left at the bottom of the bowl and went over it. Once I had that sanded down, I used chalk paint and painted the inside. At this point, my daughter thought it looked like a great ice rink for dolls. It could be used for that, or here I'm adding some Mod Podge. I was hoping to smooth it out, so I decided to use this rolling pin. And as you can see, it tore the tissue paper, but thankfully I had another sheet. If you guys have tips for how I could have gotten this tissue paper nice and smooth, I'd love to hear from you. Once dry, I cut off the excess. This canister was really cute, but realistically, I knew I wouldn't use it with that design on it. As you can see, it was an applique, so I decided to try to remove it. and that did not seem to be working. So on to plan B, I just decided to cover it. I then created this label in Cricut Design Space, and I'll have this linked in the description for you if you would like to print one of these off as well. Here I'm cleaning this with a mixture of water and vinegar. Because this is going to be used outdoors, I figured it would be a good idea to paint that bottom section a darker color. To try to achieve a crisp line here on this basket, as I'm painting, I'm being mindful to make sure that my brush is not going up under that tape. So I'm painting directly down onto it or in a downward motion. This garland was really nice quality. It was a little dusty. And once again, I've gone cordless here. I love this battery operated dust blower. I don't have to mess with the air compressor in order to blow this off. I then sprayed it with this flower cleaner. As you can see, this handle here is a little chewed up. In the top right corner there, you'll see there was one part that was bent up. I then tried to somewhat color match that wood. When folding these pieces together, I would recommend running a little hot glue along those seams to help them stay together. It wouldn't be a trip to the Goodwill Outlet without picking up a few cutting boards. I kind of liked how this one was worn, but it felt a little gunky, so ultimately I decided to sand it down. This had one little bald spot there, so I decided to find one of the longer pieces there and just cut off the top. And this had some fuzz stuck on it, so I used a toothbrush to help clean that off. I decided to paint this a gray green. Ultimately, when I got done with this, I did not love it. I knew I was gonna have a hard time working it into a room, so I decided to repaint it. But that's the beauty of things like this. Get creative. If you don't love it, you can always just paint over it. picked up these miscellaneous wood pieces. And as you guys know, I like to shop off season. Just a reminder, I'll have links to all tools and products shown in this video down in that description box. Before we get to the grand total, if you enjoyed this video, would you please do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Now let's get to that grand total. My first trip there, I spent $13.24. My second trip, I spent $50.75. This brings my grand total to $63.99. I hope that you're feeling encouraged that you too can create beautiful spaces on a budget. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'll see you next time.